Hey, what's up, guys? I'm going to make a video about the perfect steroid stack, or at least how to strategically create a good stack. If you're going to be a MMA fighter, a boxer, or something along those sorts, okay? So first of all, whenever you design a steroid stack, you always have to have the goal in mind. What is the goal? What is the intention to do so? Okay. And for fighters, it's all about fast twitch activation of your muscles. It's about recovery. It's about endurance. It's about not bulking up too much. And this is going to be the key aspect of this stack, which is it's going to be lean. Okay, you're not going to be bulking up too much, because a lot of steroid compounds, when you take, you put on a lot of water weight, and that's going to be undesirable for somebody who's a fighter. Okay, so traditionally, or should I say, I hear a lot of people online saying that T-ball is the way to go. And just in general, orals are the way to go. And I'm going to, in this video, hopefully relate to you guys that orals are the way not to go, because of there has to be a fundamental philosophy when you're organizing your stack, like when you're creating your stack. And orals, first of all, you don't do orals for more than 6 weeks at a time. Second of all, it's going to ruin your appetite. Third, there's going to be lots of side effects with orals, okay? But I'll touch upon one oral at the end that you may do, but the major thing is you're going to work with testosterone as the base. Now, testosterone cypionate is the one I would recommend, because it's just the right ester length. You could go propionate if you're going to be injecting every day, but I would not recommend that at all. So that's going to be the base. You're going to inject testosterone. It's going to be anywhere from 200 to 400, I'm going to say, for a fighter. Because if you go more than 400, you're going to run into bloating territory. You're going to bloat up. You're going to put on some water weight, and that's going to be undesirable. Okay. So to complement the testosterone, there's going to be a secondary compound you add on top of that. And I talk about this one all the time, which is masteron. It's going to be masteron. Nothing, no ifs, ands, or buts. Masteron is going to be the secondary compound you add on to the testosterone, for a number of reasons. First of all, it's going to keep you lean. It's going to keep the water weights down. You're not going to be bloated, so it'll shrink wrap you. Second of all, muscle hardness and muscle conditioning and muscle pump. You're going to be pumped, you're going to be hard, you're going to be full muscles. Vascular. Okay. Third, masteron has a central nervous system effect. Some of you might disagree with me, but I can prove this, where it has some type of drive. It has a drive where it's a central nervous system effect, okay, which is going to be translated to a neuromuscular effect. Neuromuscular being the fighting effect. It's like a beast mode you get into a little bit. Not so much as other compounds, but it's still present. So that's what I'm going to recommend, is the testosterone masteron stack for, I'm going to say, vast majority of fighters. I'm going to say the balance will be 300 test, 300 masteron, if you're really running a proper stack. Now, that might change once you're like, say, if you're going to be somebody who's going to be fighting in a competition, then that'll change. You might bring down the testosterone, you might bring your masteron up, or it might be the point where, like, you're being drug tested, you're not going to be doing any drugs, right? So you have to keep that in mind as well. Now, the thing I have to also mention here is that when you're putting together a stack for fighters as opposed to bodybuilders, you got to keep in mind that fighters it's a lot more cardiovascular oriented. You got to go for like rounds at a time, right? Fighting and things. It's not like bodybuilders who don't do that, because a lot of the stacks that's for bodybuilders actually hurt the cardiovascular system. The primary example is trembolone, but there's others as well. I believe nandrolone does as well. Where people who do this, who are bodybuilders, like they just walk up a flight of stairs and they're out of breath. Now you think about trying to fight 5 rounds. It's not going to happen. This is why things like T-ball were used, because it helps with cardiovascular, and even things like equipoise, people say helps with cardiovascular as well. So that might be another option as well. But guess what? It doesn't hinder it. Masteron does not hinder it. And testosterone doesn't hinder it if you're in the right amounts. So we're going to keep that being the base. Now, I mentioned before that we shouldn't use oral compounds for a number of reasons. One is you only use orals for a short period of time, 6 weeks period of time. Second is it affects your digestion and your diet. Third, it can skew a whole bunch of things in your HDL, your liver markers, everything else, and it can just fuck you up. So the only compound I would use is, if you were to use an oral, is Anavar. And I would really not use more than 30 milligrams a day at a time, pre-workout. Anavar, I find anyway, doesn't really affect my cardiovascular too much, but it gets a good fighting spirit within you. It will. You'll get a good pump, and it'll activate your central nervous system, where you get a bit of a beast mode in you. Without being too aggro, it won't be like halotestin, it won't be like other compounds like that. But those compounds will ruin you as well. It's like when you're going to a fight, you don't want to poison yourself, right? And be depleted because of other aspects. You want to still feel good. You still be on your game. So Anavar is going to be the one. So you're not going to stress yourself. And when you do Anavar without stressing your liver, you're going to be doing it sublingually. So it's not going to stress your liver. But of course, we're going to take proper blood work. We're going to keep a proper diet. And this is all about doing smart use, not abuse, steroid use. And as well, steroids only make up 10% of things. 90% is going to be your training and your diet. So once you got your training and your diet point, and you do what I said, that last 10%, simple as this, so simple. 300 tests, 300 Masteron. Maybe then add up 20 milligrams a day Anavar within like a month or two of your training cycle. That's all it takes. So it's not about how much gear you take, especially when it comes down to when you're training fighting, because the more gear, it's going to be the worse. It's going to actually, the more gear you take, it's going to actually affect you negatively. It's going to affect your cardiovascular, it's going to affect your bloating, it's going to affect your diet, it's going to affect a lot of things. So this is the perfect example where less is more. Bodybuilding, sometimes more is more, because, you go more, it's a bit excessive, bodybuilding. But when it comes to fighting, sometimes a little less is more. That makes sense. So that's what I recommend. The other thing I could throw out there is HGH, but I don't even think it's necessary for a fighter, especially if you're a young guy. If you're a fighter, you don't need HGH. But your recovery is going to be better. Your strength is going to be better. You'd be lean, and master on helps with leanness, and you'll be very strong, 100%. So I'll leave it there, guys. What are your thoughts about this video? Leave in the comment section below. I don't hear many people talk about this, if not anybody talk about this exact topic of videos. So I hope this finds you well, and I hope you do well on your journey to be a good fighter and using compounds safely and effectively. Thank you for watching, guys. Peace.